Strike North America closed qualifier, presented to you by Nerd Street Gamers. We started with 128 teams in the open qualifiers, and we're now down to just 14, and 4 of those teams will be guaranteed a spot in the main event in December by the end of this week, and of course fight for that 100k prize pool and that title of being NA's best Valorant team. Now, if you missed yesterday's action, I'm just going to quickly fill you in on everything that's been going on, and obviously the format that we're running, because it is slightly different to the open qualifier format we had last week. We're currently in the group stages of the tournament, where teams are taking part in a best of 3 double elimination knockouts, with the top 2 teams from every group advancing to the playoffs. Yesterday, we brought you some games from groups A and B, where we had to sadly say goodbye to XZ and Equinox after they were knocked out of the lower bracket. But of course, we also witnessed some exceptional Valorant on this stream from 100 Thieves and Complexity, both of whom are now in the upper finals of their group. So today, we'll be bringing you some games from groups C and D, kicking off with Sentinels versus Dignitas, followed by the Slimy Boogerman versus Renegades, and rounding off the day with that all-important lower bracket knockout game. But that is enough from me for now. And before I get ahead of myself, let me introduce you to our casters for the first 2 games today. It's I Hold Shift and Avril. Guys, it's great to see you again today. Welcome back to the stream. And you know, we had a great day of Valorant action yesterday, but what can we expect from that Group C today, Shift?
We've opened up this B stream with arguably 2 of the most competitive groups. I think Group A was maybe a little bit more convincing than a lot of people were expecting. 100 Thieves looked better. XSET maybe didn't have as much in the tank as we were hoping for. But a lot of the same storylines that we had yesterday about the caliber of teams from the top to the bottom of Group A, you can essentially copy-paste into what we have here in Group C. Because you've got some teams that I think have some pretty big upset potential. You've got a team like Spot Up, who played very well in their opening rounds last week. You've also got Team Envy, who in my mind is a top 3 team at least right now in North American Valorant. And of course, you have what has been the perennial favorites in Sentinels. So yeah, there is going to be a lot of electricity, I think, in this group specifically. So starting things off with Sentinel and Dignitas could provide for a really interesting start to this group.
Yeah, looking forward to really good games in this group as well. I think we look at towards C being Envy and Sentinels being the clear favorites here. Envy, who came as the runner-ups in the open qualifier. Sentinels actually ended up dropping out to Gen G, I believe, so maybe a little bit uncharacteristic on their part. I'm definitely looking for Sentinels to come back in full form. There won't be any excuses today. Sentinels do have to bring it to bear today because, I mean, top 4 make it through to the main event, so on paper, Sentinels should be one of those top 4 teams, but they can't afford another performance like they had versus Gen G if they're going to get there.
Of course, like you said, that 2-0 against Gen G, they don't usually get 2-0'd. You know, this is not the team that loses easily. And if anything, I feel like outside of TSM especially, they don't lose at all. So you guys, you know, they've shown us what they can do with this roster. They've stuck to these 5 players. We've seen a lot of roster changes before ahead of First Strike, but they've stayed together for a good reason as well. But they've also exposed some of their weaknesses, you know, in that Gen G series. Now, Avril, what do you think their weaknesses are, especially if you are a team like Dignitas and you want to exploit those?
This is really tough because you then have to look back at, I mean, maybe this is too long history now ago, but like consider that the last time Dignitas played Sentinels was back in Pop Flash, where Sentinels completely wiped the floor with them. That was what, a 13-0 followed by a 13-3. So that is going to be sticking in the back of the minds of Dignitas for sure. I think it's going to be a bit of a mental battle for Dignitas to overcome. Sentinels absolutely handed it to them last time around. I look back at Sentinels Gen G game as well. It is a quite peculiar one. I'm not too sure. You know, I'm not going to be the guy making excuses for Sentinels, but what I will say is it doesn't seem like Sentinels were playing up to their maximum potential there. It could have been Gen G overperforming as well. Maybe people have been sleeping on Gen G. I certainly think Gen G are a decent team at the moment, especially with Sean on the roster. But that didn't look like the Sentinels I think people were expecting to see. And that's why I'm saying today, Sentinels will have to come in with no excuses. They have to bring their A game because, I mean, they're a team that's supposed to be in that top 4 to make it to the main event. And they can't afford to get 0-2, certainly not by a team of Dignitas. And that's not to speak ill against Dignitas, it's just to say that Sentinels should be the better team on paper.
Look, I'll make the excuses for Sentinels. That match versus Gen G was not them taking it seriously. Dapper was going for 360s. It just wasn't what you would expect and what we came to know for Sentinels. I'm throwing a major asterisk on that matchup. But the interesting thing to take away is that actually Sentinels banned Ascent away for this particular matchup, which is strange because during the Ignition Era series, they were 20-3 on that map in major tournaments. And then over the course of last week, yeah, they lost to Gen G on it, but the fact of the matter was they barely got past Spot Up, and they lost in their round of 64 matchup 10-13 versus a team called Sakura Storm, which I couldn't tell you anything about them because no one's ever heard of them before. So there might be some consideration that, hey, maybe our best map is no longer our best map. So it's going to be really interesting, I think, to see Sentinels play on this group of 3 maps that we have today.
Well, as you guys can see on the screen right now, we do have the map picks. You know, Sentinels are one of those teams I think are particularly impressive because they've made an effort to sort of get organized on every map. I'm really interested to see how they do when Icebox comes into the mix. But, you know, if you look at their stats, they pretty much have an even win rate and an even pick on every single one of the maps. They're not one of those teams that has like 32 games on Bind and then like 3 games on Haven, for example. Whereas Dignitas, they just don't play split. And as you guys can see, they're going to have to play split today. And I totally believe that is a tactical move from Sentinels to sort of throw them into that split decision, pun intended.
Nice.
So do you guys think now we have the maps up here, is this going to be an expected 2-0 from Sentinels? Ava, I'll come to you.
Again, on paper, yeah. I mean, if we forget about the Sakura Storm result, you forget about the Gen G result, you do pull out the excuse and say that maybe they weren't trying or they weren't playing to full form, whether that was on purpose or not. On paper, it should be Sentinels, but, you know, I am going to take it with a grain of salt now and think, you know, Dignitas definitely have a bit of a chance. Dignitas is a team that I'm not willing to sleep too hard on. If this was Dignitas versus another team, I'd feel better for Dignitas, but really Sentinels, especially from the Ignition era, like Shift has been saying, such a dominant team. I think Sentinels should be able to take this one. I don't know if it's going to be 2-0 exactly, but that's kind of what they need to be aiming for. I think if Sentinels want to make a clean top 4 run, they should be aiming for a 2-0. I just want to see if Dignitas can pull one through.
All right, ladies and gents, I won't keep you guys awaiting any longer. This is the fun part. You guys take us away through that first map.
Thanks so much, Yinsu. Another wonderful opening from you. But no, it's interesting, Avril, because for Dignitas, you know, up until they played 100 Thieves, I was thinking that, okay, this team, they got past Team 2D, which if you don't know, they've done very well in previous monthly tournaments that we've seen them. So the fact that they were able to win that one 13-7 in 2 separate maps, I felt pretty good about Dignitas. But Yinsu brought up the fact that this is a team that does not like to play split. They didn't play it much during the Ignition Series era. They hadn't played it all during the Open Qualifier. They also have not played a lot of Haven in either of those 2 instances. And then after coming off of a 4-13 loss and a 2-13 loss to the 100 Thieves squad that we admittedly said had some vulnerabilities and maybe they weren't as strong as we were anticipating, that doesn't necessarily bode well. So I would say that I'm absolutely right there with you when it comes to leaning towards Sentinels winning this series. It just comes down to will it happen in 2 or happen in 3, and I think that all will just be cause and effect based on how much has Dignitas actually improved over the last week to play up against a caliber of opponent like Sentinels.
And I will be curious about what these teams bring to the table as well. Like you said, in terms of Dignitas not having played a lot of split, what are they going to be bringing to the table? I can say right now that looking towards, you know, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because Haven's map number 1, but Sick on the Sentinel side of things has currently 3 agents that he likes to play across these maps. I mean, he's been bringing Phoenix onto the table. He's got Breach on there as well, and he's one of the few players that are still sticking to the Sage. Like, there's very few players still playing Sage at all, but Sick's probably one of the few, you would say, almost main Sage players from the Ignition era. One of the Sage players that really come to mind when you talk about the agent. One of the players that come to mind, probably something like Sick, right? He'll be bringing that to bear on Split, I believe. So far, he's been playing that on Split, even, you know, currently during First Strike. So I will be looking forward to seeing how Sentinels want to navigate that one and if Dignitas have something prepared in response.
Again, we don't have really a sample size over the last couple of weeks/months when it comes to what is Dignitas going to play. But as far as what they like to play back in the Pop Flash, they were one of those squads that brought Phoenix to the table on Haven with the Jet, which is expected what we're going to likely see here for Sentinels. So will it be mere matchups on this map specifically? Will we maybe see the opportunity of something like a breach to come through, or maybe someone swapping over to Arena. Those would be potential options, but I would be, I think, anticipating seeing maybe those mirror matchups that what they played before is what they're going to be playing here again. So it's interesting. So again, like we mentioned, it's Haven coming up for map number 1. Starting off defensively will be Sentinels on the map, and then we will get map number 2, which is Split, which is why we kind of framed that up so heavily in that pre-show talk. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting overall, because both teams were very heavily Ascent favored teams throughout the Ignition Series era, as well as right there is in the open qualifiers. They played Ascent every single time they went out and played a best of 3, so it's weird to not see them play that one here. But hey, it's one of those things that we'll take away maybe our strongest map, but it's fine as long as it's your strongest map as well. We'll let you see if you can handle our versatility in multiple maps, which, like Yinsu was mentioning, I would say Sentinels were the most convincing team back during the Ignition Series era when it came to being able to be successful on every single map. I want to say, just as far as I'm remembering back, that they were one of the only North American teams that held a positive win-loss record on every single map, which is pretty astonishing if you think about that in the scheme of things.
And I can talk about that a little bit more in depth as well. I mean,
Sure.
they certainly have a win-loss record. You know, they have a positive win-loss record on absolutely every single map. But Haven ends up being the one that is lowest for some reason, 63% win rate on that one. Everyone else is looking over towards, you know, their buy-in is 71, their split is 82, their Ascent is 81. Obviously, we talked a lot about their Ascent already. You know, I think Sentinels are one of the teams that really improvised and innovated on the Ascent map as well. Specifically, you look towards Sova, you look towards what Sinatra's been doing on the table for that one. So starting out on Haven, technically, statistically, their worst map. I don't know if you would really walk into this one and think, you know, even so being statistically the worst, is it, you know, going to be your best chance here? They played it once so far during First Strike. They played it against Sakura Storm. It was one that they did win, so they lost the Ascent, but they did win this one 13-5 versus Sakura Storm. This is the one that Sig ended up playing Phoenix on, so no breach for this particular map, even though I think most teams do prefer the breach on Haven. Sentinels are still running a few different things, specifically with Sig.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and you're looking, I think, largely at the Sova players to see what kind of information they can find, and then beyond that, if it is going to be Phoenix with Omen, how are you going to utilize those flashes to try to execute in? So again, just waiting on lobby to start here for us for map number 1 on Haven. Particular players, though, I think just to kind of look out for. Obviously, you're gonna have to throw Sinatra into the conversation, but I'm just really interested, I think, to see how Sick is able to perform. Again, he was one of those guys that before he was mostly playing on Sage. That has changed, and maybe there is some consideration as far as, are the Sentinels finding the same kind of success with different compositions from when we last, of course, notably saw them during the Pop Flash series and the Ignition series as a large side. But on the opposite side, I mean, you've got Supa, who is absolutely incredible individualistic player, but behind that, you have a really solid team, and it's one of those things that maybe Superman, when this Dignitas team was initially signed, kind of stole the show, but you can throw consideration to every single one of these other players on this Dignitas roster and bode success for the team as a whole.
And if we get to map number 3, by the way, Bind so far has been the better map, a better performing map for a team like Dignitas. I say that even though, I mean, I believe they ended up dropping a Bind 200 Thieves 2 and 13. So, I mean, that's probably the one black mark there. It's really unfortunate that they have to go down at that kind of record. And we already know that Sally 400 Thieves, I mean, their performance has just been kind of up and down. They will be playing Cloud9 Blue at some stage as well. So we'll have to see how they do later on in the tournament. But I think Dignitas dropping that hard to 100 Thieves is part of the reason why I probably don't have as much faith in the Dignitas lineup moving forward. We haven't really seen them on Haven during First Strike just yet, so now getting our first glimpse as we head into map number 1, and Sam is not even going to be on the Sova to start with. He's actually going to start on Arena.
Interesting. So we've got some pretty heavy as far as the duelists are considered. Also in the mix, we did see the Killjoy. Just important to note as far as how the Sentinels will be played here for both of our teams. And for Sentinels defensively, they are going to try to position Shazam pretty aggressively over towards A long. Not going to see anything with the trap wire down in sewer. That's going to provide some pretty easy opportunity, you would feel, for Dapper to hold on to the sites individually, and that will be the case. But as things start to break loose, walking up C long with no information, that is a very light paranoia to come through, and Supa will find 2, but you got to credit Zombs for able to keep things even with 2 kills of his own. Here comes the re-attack very quickly, but Supa, he's got 4. You want to see some individual pop-off moments. Supa will not make you wait for very long.
One player alive still coming through, Dapper. Thinking about the garage player right now. Dignitas have not planted yet. They could actually fall off of C, go towards B or something else. They can make a 2-for-1 here. Low HP for Supa. possibly on board for the ace currently. We'll get the plant as well, just getting that ultimate online nice and early, potentially for that second round. 14 HP to work with, and won't win the duel early on.
Well, he gets the raid boss down, but Shock Dart will come through. The camera is instantly deleted, so no information here. And Dapper will be tagged. Immediately jump peek from Maka. Beautiful play there, and that will be Dignitas taking the pistol in the back end of 4 kills from Superman.
Superman was one of the players that ended up getting past the initial paranoia coming through from Zoms as well. You see Sick looking up to try and collect the kill onto the recon dart coming through, and I mean, Sick's just looking the wrong way. Unfortunately, he does get the recon, or was thinking about getting the recon. Super takes him down, gets another 3 as well. He's at, what, 6 out of 7 now, so that's the 4 kills, 1 death plus a plant. He'll be on his way towards From the Shadows fairly quickly.
Unbelievable start here for Dignitas in the opening pistol. And as we look ready to go for round number 2, it'll be full Spectres in the mix for Dignitas, though, on the opposite side, or pardon, from Sentinels on the opposite side. It's just going to be Classics and a Frenzy. And this is going to be an A-long commitment pretty early, you feel like. A couple of shots will actually come through onto the Aldrod. Now as the hit comes out, there's the first kill. Good team shots that are going to be there for Odorous and Deft alike. Each of them taking away a kill and an assist. And now the Nanostorm setup will come through as the spike will be planted without contact.
Spike planted.
Saw Sick moving down C-Long as well. Didn't quite see anything happening over there. Sinatra down nice and early to Odorous on what would have been the retake. Sentinels won't be saving here, but they need to try and make something happen with 2 players. Looking over towards the Dignitas side of things, Superman now does have From the Shadows, won't be using it this particular round. We'll be wondering what Sick is going to be able to do here with Zoms, the 2 players moving over from C. 1 kill would be nice, as Odorous does stick his head out slightly, but at this point in time, Sentinels may be hoping for exits.
Well, you're hoping and maybe even praying, but you're not going to come away with either. Now, careful, we've seen opportunities where Ninja Diffuses have come through in these instances, but as Storm takes down Zom, there will be no chance of such an occurrence here. Dismissing away, Sick will just try to move forward, maybe try to find a kill, but the red dot chase will not be successful. He will stay alive through the detonation, maybe even surprising for him, and maybe an opportunity here. A couple of shots will tag, but no deaths will come through, so he'll chip away at some armor, but Dignitas up big early, 2-0 up.
Let's see what Sentinels can do now on their first gun round. This is the one that really counts. Dignitas have been really fast so far, and they heads over towards C for the pistol, A towards the anti-eco as well. Still got all their equipment online, no deaths over for the Dignitas side. Super has been planting twice now, so the 4-1 in terms of the scoreline for the KD. 2 plants, 7 out of 7 for the ultimate. I would like to see if From the Shadows will be used this particular round to try and get one up against Sentinels.
Gonna hear the Odin starting to spam through. It's really good information for Dig, as again with just Spectres, this is gonna be a very difficult approach, but it looks like they want to stack towards C long. They would have gambled correctly, as the only player who hears defensively is just Zoms, but he is holding a cheeky corner that he likely will not be scouted out, and the defense is already rotating here, Avril.
Yep, they've scouted out A, saw nothing there. And the players are on board. 5 rifles, arms, he sees a lot early. A couple of kills coming on through. The flash comes through as well. It becomes a fairly even trade. It's a bit of it so far.
It's an okay trade, but Sinatra just holding things down through the C garage. He's able to find 3 in typical Odin fashion. So getting heated up a little bit here is Sentinels. After the 3 kills from Sinatra, they bounce back in the round that you would hope that they bounce back in. But now all of a sudden for Dig, after what was a flawless round in round 2, plus a pretty convincing pistol round, they can already go into an early operator, and Odorous will pull that big dog out to play.
You see 3 weapons having to be repurchased here for Sentinels, not quite ideal. They have the money technically. A couple of Bulldogs will be on the field versus 4 rifles, plus the fact that, like you mentioned, the operator early on in round 4 operator for Odorous. It's going to be difficult to deal with. Sentinels, they would really only got that last round because the quick rotate. Let's see how they manage the information gathering early on for round 4.
Spike is going to be left mid-map, so for Dignitas, they are going to try to play for picks here, you feel like, and a lot of that is actually going to be over towards C long. Zoms has already spent his paranoia. That is a critical tool for Zoms to hold on to this defensively, at least individually, so he's actually going to call for a bit of help, and that will mean that the B and the middle of the map completely wide open if Dignitas want to try to approach through the middle.
You'll also notice, by the way, both the Bulldog players are over towards C in terms of what Sick and Zoms are doing. Sinatra was there as well, moving back towards the garage now. Dignitas haven't quite committed anywhere. They're actually playing really far back. Hopefully waiting for a pick coming through from Odorous once the smoke dissipates over towards C. Aldro now being followed out by Sick into grass. Doesn't see anyone mid so far, so Sentinels don't quite know what's going on. Zoms, though, might end up overstepping here. Again, Odorous is watching C currently.
Psalm is just looking for a pick, though. This is all just bait for him. He's able to grab it, dismiss away. That's a huge pick, because look at the defense on your minimap. 3 members all rotating over to A, but the spike is actually going to go back to C. And Sentinels are realizing that, hey, this is not a commitment. They could still re-wrap back over to C long. There is no paranoia here, so there will be no chance to flash things through unless a curveball can come out. Not going to happen when you fall, as Depp is able to find the kill, no problem. And now it's just down to Sinatra to hold. A lot of information off the recon bolt, but isn't able to pierce through. Just down to 12 seconds. Spike has to be planted. That's going to be picked up, and it will go down. Sinatra does find one with a shot card, but he will not be able to hold on, and now it's a 4v1, just down to Dapper.
Well, Sinatra certainly makes it close there. Gets the timer right down low. 1 player versus 4. I don't believe he'll get chased down just yet. Dignitas need to hold on to their guns as well. They have operator in play, want to hold on to it. The Odin was dropped by Sinatra over towards C, so Dapper staying alive, keeping this 1 gun alive over to the next round. Hopefully 1 drop will be available again, and we're playing on 110 here, so the new economy change isn't into effect just yet. It will allow Dapper to have full loss bonuses coming through. Dignitas, though, brilliant plays over towards A. You saw Sam walking up slowly, getting that initial pick. And Zoms as well, rather not Zoms, Superman as well, using that from the shadows to bait attention over towards A, allowing Dignitas to eventually walk onto C. Again, some resistance being met there by Sinatra, but overall 4 players alive. Now Dignitas walking away 3-1 in terms of the scoreline here, and they also have the Empress available going to next.
And that's the play you want to see. If you're going to commit to Arena on offense, they have to be slippery, right? You've got to trust that they can find at least 1 kill and then either use the overhill to stay alive or the dismiss to essentially get out of dodge. And that's plays that we saw from teams previously. We talked about players like Fiend from Moon Raccoons was really successful at that throughout the kind of quote-unquote dead season between the Ignition series and now the First Strike series. But the thing about it is, when you're going to take the play on Reyna, you need to see plays like that from Psalm. So we'll see if he can continue to do that. We're going to get a very early Hunter's Fury here from Sinatra. He's going to connect with 1, actually a second shot. So a little bit of damage confirmed, but no kills. And Shazam also pushed through over towards A long. Already has a Blade Storm, and he's just able to stay away from this Nanostorm, but will spend most of his knives trying to hurt for the kill.
Shazam goes down as well, so Blade Storm is gone now. That's one of the more important tools that Sentinels did have this round. Obviously, the gun being saved over in Dapper's hands is probably the most important one now. He's all the way over towards Garage. Plenty of players hanging out in A lobby currently. Sinatra can do nothing about it for now. Frenzy in hand, has to wait for the action to come to him. Sick has a Bucky into this round. He's holding over towards A there. Trying to gamble, stack this one a little bit. Zoms is nearby, but Sentinels don't quite have the equipment value here. And because Dapper is playing so far away, he has the opportunity to save again.
It's going to be a commit to A. 45 seconds on the clock. Just comes down to throwing out the dark covers, throwing the paranoias, and just getting in. Sinatra, can you find 1? No, he does a lot of damage, but can't just confirm the kill. Stick, though, with the Bucky will find at least 1 kill on the hold, but the hold is very short-lived. So Spike will be planted here, and once again, like you'd mentioned, Dapper is going to just probably hold and maybe look for maybe some over-aggressive peaks while Zoms plays up top heaven to see if he can maybe steal a kill or 2 on the way out.
Yeah, I think Sentinels know they've lost this one. 2v4 with only 1 rifle in hand. Zoms can't quite find another weapon, sees a shoulder of a player but can't confirm the kill, so, well, not even really enough damage. That's on Odorous, who is the operator anyway, so, yeah, I mean, at this point in time, Zoms would do well to try and find 1 exit here, try and fly out, jump out the window, get 1 kill, do some damage. He's 1 away from his ult anyway, so dying feels inconsequential. Dapper now, looking for his own exit. Won't find one as Dignitas exit towards the attacker spawn, and Dignitas now 4 rounds, 4 alive, and plenty of money in the bank.
So just to kind of give you a brief history lesson here, when we saw Dignitas last play Haven, it was during the Ignition series era. I think it was actually during Pop Flash. Yeah, they only were 4-3 in total in major tournaments on Haven. They won 50% of their attacking rounds back in the day, 55% of defensive rounds. So just to kind of give you a picture between what we knew to what we're about to learn, Dignitas already is stepping up in a major way. Another instance of this is the fact that they have early opted into the operator, and they've been finding value with it so far. This will be the first round, though, here, Everward. It's going to be met up with an operator for Sentinels. Shazam's going to bring it to play, and that operator versus operator battle very well might dictate how this first half continues to go.
Sick has run it back as well, so we'll see if he does something with that over towards Garage.
Joke's over.
This will be a really good round for Dignitas to want to go towards their own lane. Ultimate Sick walks out, instantly connects into Odorous, and that's going to be a nice 1-for-0 to start things off.
Recon Bolt is still actually in play onto Sick, but he's able to get away. A little bit of help from Sinatra, but the opening pick is incredible. The operator will likely still be salvaged, I believe Makalov was just over towards that red X and was able to pick it up, so there still maybe is the potential to grab it. No, he actually has a Phantom still in hand, so that operator is still on the floor for at least our assumptions at the moment. But for Dignitas and now a 4v5, the only tool you have available is an Empress. But are you really going to trust Psalm to go rogue, play with it just for an individual play and try to open up this round? Or do you still try to coordinate in a 4-man hit towards a specific spike site?
Might only be 3 left here because Def is on very low HP. Probably gets confirmed here. Certainly does. So Maka down as well. And this round is all but over now for Dignitas. 2 alive versus 5. Not a lot of time in terms of trying to work together. Spikes is all the way over to A lobby. And Super just had to try and lurk. Now, a couple of kills for Super would be nice. They have the money to rebuy.
30 seconds
Super
left.
will probably do something here. Any damage he does to the Sentinels' economy is going to be worth it. Sentinels buy up heavily into this round and won't be able to afford comfortably into rebuys just yet. So, what can Super do on the backside? He is completely unknown at this stage.
And I'm also interested, you see Sinatra's mid-map at the moment. He is right where Odorous had died
10 seconds
at. So
left.
is he going to pick up a second operator potentially? We'll have to consider that as we get out of this round and going into the next. Supa on this route very well might make point of contact over towards our Cypher player here of Dapper, who's going to be just below him, but it looks like nothing will occur. But no, Sinatra has not picked up that operator. So it will still just be the one. Like you had mentioned, though, previously, Avril, Dig can still afford to go into another operator, so Odorous will give it another try.
And they're very close to more ultimates here as well. Makalov's 1 away. They have 3 over from Psalm, Odorous, and Def. So, I mean, for Dignitas, they lose that one, which ends up being quite important for Sentinels, who were pretty poor in terms of economy. If Sentinels don't walk away with a lot of guns in hands, if they lose that round again, I mean, this half would be in dire straits for them. So, keeping this competitive from the Sentinels POV. Dignitas now with an opportunity to overpower with their own ultimate. Sick. Thought about getting aggressive there over towards C-Long, but is now just kind of playing for defaults back where he was previously in the previous rounds.
Is there going to be a peek here? There sure will be, and Shazam will punish. Immediately to the updraft, he's going to see a Nanostorm come down and almost gets an opportunity onto Def, but the thing about this is you know that Def is over towards the right side, so can you isolate this pick? Aldrin will be dealt with, and with that little bit of freedom gained, Def will go back to safety.
The 4v5 start, though. And again, Sentinels in the previous round did a great job of picking off the Dignitas members. And Dignitas, for now, still looking for potential openings. You still have to get past his operator somehow. Shazam is there, really trying to test the patience here of that rifle. The sniper rifle specifically. Def will get away with that for now. As we're down below a minute, and the lockdown has been initiated.
And this looks like it's going to be a lockdown committal over towards A based on how the spike is playing A long. There are still a number of traps that you have to deal with, though. Bladestorm for Odorous. He's looking to engage. Cloudburst comes through. Tailwind over, but the shots just aren't good enough. Shazam with the classic will find one. Will it be enough, though?
30 seconds left.
Dapper, who had to bail, will have to find a way to retake and watch out for the lurk. You've got Superman here on the Odin. He's going to find the first and second kill from the flank. Beautiful lurk play from Dig as the spike will go down. They've got a 3v2, but Sentinels look like they want to try to re-engage.
And Super's done it. I mean, that could be the round right there. He's done so much damage here. 2 plays down. Sentinels, they're 2 alive. Trying to come through from heaven. Will clear hell. That's a nice kill from Dapper onto Def. 4 HP still standing alive. Doesn't create it either. Will tap the spike quickly. Survives the first shot of the Hunter's Fury as well. They need to look for these kills. 2, 1 alive now. Dignitas could still have this one. Super for 3 this round. And Dapper doesn't have enough HP. Super will pick up his 4th, or rather 2nd, 4th kill of the of half so far.
Double on the flank, double on the hold. Crossfire aim just hitting different right now if you're Superman. 10 and 2 for him. My goodness. Hell of a start. And now for Dignitas, they will take a small edge of the economy, but Shazam still can afford another operator, and he technically could purchase for Dapper here as well, and that will be the case. So another full gun round coming through, but a pivotal one for Sentinels, trying to get this defensive half back in order.
On the very close margins of the previous round, but for Dignitas, still just keeping the lead alive currently. And finally, Dignitas will get one early on. They've been losing a fair few first bloods, and now it does get traded the other way. Sentinels have lost 2, but they grab 2 back.
That's another beautiful double from Zombs. He takes care of the operator again early for Dignitas, so we have a 3v3. Empress still available for Psalm. On the opposite side, from the shadows, is good to go for Zombs.
There.
And an Aldrone, which is defensively trying to clear out C Garage, will successfully do that, but it's not going to catch much information as far as are there any Dignitas members mid-map. And with that, it's going to be just down to hopefully Zom's holding off by himself here at C, as you really have to split your defensive resources up if you're Sentinels.
And Dignitas could actually make the play over towards C. I believe Sam probably still has a layer available currently. They can walk through the smoke with that one. Sentinels are looking for some info. You did see that Shazam was walking up over towards A, so fairly confident that nothing's happening towards A right now. Dignitas, with what time they have available, seem to be moving towards B now. Once they get past this trap wire, it will be confirmed that they are indeed going towards B, and yeah, well, I mean, Dapper is dead, but the trap wire is still active.
And Shazam's going to go for the immediate flank. He's over towards A long right now. He's going to come right behind B window. So where do you exit right now if you're Dignitas on this post plant? You've got one member lurking. That's Death. Zoms hasn't fully rotated over yet. And as you're going to get clearance from Shazam, this is going to be very tricky. This might just be 3 individual 1v1s that are coming through. Sinatra's now also lurking around through C Garage, coming back up the middle of the map. Makalov is going to read at least one player in the mid, but does he see the second? Zom's now clearing C Garage. This is very slow, but very dictated for Sentinel. Now on the way in, Makalov in a corner will find the first. Is there going to be a trade? Shoulder peek comes through, and Sinatra will find the trade. Now up to Psalm, not going to find the kill. It's just going to be down to the work of death. He can't find the kill! Are you kidding? Zoms for 4, and Sentinels retake at the very last second.
Oh man, that's a really rough one for Dignitas as well. You see, the spike wasn't exactly planted for Def, so despite Def coming back from the window side of things, look, if it was planted default over towards B, Def has a really good shot, maybe clutching up 1v2 there, making things extremely difficult. Time will be starting to really run out for Sentinels. That ends up being a nice defuse. Starts things out with Sinatra getting the, or rather the other way around. Makalov gets a kill, but just Dignitas can't quite hold on there again. I think it not being planted for Def is the main issue with how that B play ended up rolling out there. So 5 and 3, Sentinels catch it back up in this half so far. Still waiting for Sam, by the way, to pop through the Empress. As the other ultimates are starting to come online now for everyone else.
He's got a Bulldog this round, so this might not be the round we see it either. But with that, from the shadows could be also used for Dig. Sick is considering maybe playing aggressive here at C Garage. Odorous will find first blood. That's over towards the B side of the map. Right over towards A Link. TP gonna come up for Superman. He's gonna be able to find information, and the kill will be there, but the trade is instantly there for Sick. Now if he can find a second, that'd be great for the effort. Curveball will be there. Sick is able to find a double. 1v3 situation, but Odorous locking down angles from really tight corners here inside the B site. Will actually walk away with 3 for Dig, and they'll go up 6-3.
Yep, and that'll be a repurchase as well, so I think the Bulldog, well, it'll be kept for Sam actually, so he'll be fine onto that one. Looking over to the Sentinel side of things in terms of what repurchase they're going into. The money's been broken once again, so I mean, Dignitas should be on the board for 7 currently. They can get through the next round cleanly, and well, I mean, this half has been very Dignitas dictated so far, specifically that last one. We talked about Odorous on the Operator, 3 kills coming through, opening B up. They just get free access over towards the B side of things. Blade Storm now available for Odorous walking to the next one.
Light buy here for Sentinels would result in an early Blade Storm call. Odorous going to be trusted to try to find some picks, and you also have Psalm on his lonesome with this Bulldog. Not a great fight to take, but Shazam doesn't hit a single blade. And with that, it will be a 5v4. Nice paranoia to come through. Sick with the hero rifle. He's going to find 2, not a third, but Zoms is there for the immediate trade. So all of a sudden, Sentinels have the numbers, and this is going to be the call for not just the Empress, it's also the Bladestorm, as Odorous needs to try to assist Psalm in any way possible. Lear will come through, but Sentinels have given up the site, looking for a potential retake. They've got From the Shadows and a Neural Theft, but likely there aren't enough hot corpses here for the Neural Theft to be used, and well, it doesn't make a difference. Psalm just spams over towards C Garage, and will find a kill to even things up 2v2.
And that's an important kill as well, because that refreshes the Empress now. There was an opportunity where Sentinels could maybe wait out the Empress. Sinatra goes in straight away. Odorous down now. So Sam, Empress alone, gets 1 kill, dismisses away. This 1v1 now, super important. Zoms, paranoia was so huge early on. He's trying to run away. He's got the util out. And that's going to give Sam the opportunity to get the clutch in there. 4 kills for Sam, and Dignitas takes 7.
And now past the 50% win rate on their attacking half. Again, that was the statistic that they were holding going into this matchup, having not played Haven at all throughout the open qualifiers last week. Sentinels on the back foot, but now you've got a full gun round. This is an important one. You feel like you really don't want to see Dig hit 8, not yet at least. Maybe if you can get away with an 8-4, you're okay with it, but going down 8-3, going into the last round of the half, in which you're likely going to have to save, yeah, this is feeling like a must-win round for Sentinels, and luckily they've got plenty of ultimates to use.
Tell you what, though, 6 in the right position right now. He's got himself another ultimate available. Speaking of ultimates being played right now, double Hunter's Fury coming in pretty big right now. Run it back. Let's trade one through as well. A lot of damage being confirmed. Look at that. Dignitas lose 3 almost instantly.
That's a beautiful bait off of the run it back. And Dapper's good for another. Almost gets Odorous. Knows that it's an operator play that's coming through. But Odorous will only be able to find one as Shazam from the backside, able to clean things up, and what was a must-win round for Sentinels comes through in chaotic fashion. But the greatness of that play from Sentinels was not the fact that Sinatra finds the first kill off the Hunter's Fury. It's not the fact that you've got the run it back that also finds the kill. It's the fact that you had this elongated battle on the right side of the map here, on our midi-map perspective, that you were able to free players through the middle and immediately get there to collapse. Beautiful, quick engagements from Sentinels defensively to find 4.
Ends up being a nice read from Sentinels as well. You could argue there's a bit of luck involved there where they were stacking over towards A against Sick, who normally plays closer towards the C side of things. Starts over towards A. Early couple of damages coming through from the Hunter's Fury from Sinatra's side of things will confirm numbers in that area, and then the kills come on. And speaking of kills, over towards A, Shazam opening up into Odorous and Sentinels 5v4.
Dapper is going to get a lot of information off this spy cam that there are at least 2 members nearby. Shazam is feeling it. He's got no tailwind. You have to hit this shot, and he's going to collapse! There's number 2 and 3. Beautiful. You need a tailwind? Well, why not just take 1 bullet to earn it back as he gets double?
1 away from the Blade Storm now as well. Won't need it here. Last round of the half coming on in. Shazam might get another. He certainly will. Up for the ace now. 1 more. Super will pull it back through. Sentinels though, 4v1. They have spike control. There's no way they lose this.
No way they lose this unless Supa can make something incredible happen, but there's just no chance. He's about to get overwhelmed here in a moment. Gonna try to run for the hills. The spike is, again, in a terrible spot, although this from the shadows is actually pretty cheeky. He's going to use this to go up towards A heaven. There's an opportunity now for him to make this play, but Sentinels know where the spike is. And it's going to take 3 incredible shots off of this operator for Superman to even have remotely a chance.
And just by the way, Shazam started this round 5 and 9. He was at the bottom of the scoreboard for his team. Will now be right up there with those 4 kills. 20 seconds remaining again. Superman just trying to keep this one interesting, but at this stage, Sentinels don't need to chase. They know exactly what they need to do. Hold spike control, wait for Super to come, clean up the kill, and that's all she wrote there. Sentinels will pull it through 5 and 7. It didn't look good in terms of the scoreline so far. I think 8 and 4 was definitely on the cards there, but Shazam closed the door into that conversation and make sure that Sentinels are still in the game.
We'll take a look back, though, to see what happens here. It's GoPuff bringing you the first half highlights, and this opening from Superman, it's just like, almost like we're reading a script talking about his individual skill. 4 kills off the Ghost and the opening pistol for him to get Dignitas started. You know, just to hit it one last time, we talked about how Dignitas previously on Haven, only 50% of offenses, which is not really what you want on Haven as a top-tier squad, but they started things off nicely, up 6-3. That little battle right there between Psalm and the Bladestorm was incredible, but this was the major bounce back. After the colliding Hunter's Furies, it's Shazam who takes over to bring this one back, and now Sentinels are in a much healthier spot, only down 5-7, now going to their attack.
Let's see what they can do now. Walking up over towards B. It'll be Psalm up first on the Dignitas side of things to try and stop this. Early plant will be confirmed, and Sentinels should be able to get off-site for a nice post-plant.
Well, the retake will be pretty easy to get back into the site. It just comes down to contesting over towards B window. The Owl Drone is going to find a lot of information. And actually, they're going to flash it with a curveball on the way through. It's actually a pretty heads-up play from Sick. Zombs will find 1 kill on the suit. The hot hands will be tossed out. We also have shock darts that are coming through. That will combine for another elimination. And Dignitas just does not have the ability with their utility to work their way out. It has to be the backside of kills. Sinatra still holding on to 1 more shock dart. He will double up with the utility as the Sova, and Sentinel will take the pistol.
That's a lot of utility from Sentinels as well. You look towards the hot hands, the shock arrows coming through as well from Sinatra, and it's just too much to deal with. Sentinels get all 5 alive in the post-plant off-site. And for Dignitas, difficult for them to win that situation unless they can push through the actual B main windows there. Towards the windows, I should probably say. You did see Makalov attempting that. Recon into the smoke itself. Rushing through, being able to kill Sick, but they can't quite confirm more kills than that. Sentinels now get that early pistol, and Sinatra opens things up for the second round with an Ares in hand. So a very typical Sinatra buy.
You can never be surprised in this day and age with Sinatra investing into the LMGs. Aggressive dart cover coming through. A couple of shock darts will be placed over the top side of the back C site. And not much will happen with this. Although, that said, Supa has been brought down to half HP, so he was tagged heavily by something, and the team shots onto Def, who was caught trying to cherry-pick mid-map, will lead to an opening first blood for Sentinels. And now an opportunity for them to just overwhelm based on numbers alone, considering their weapon utility is going to be so much higher than Dignitas.
I don't think the Sentinels actually bought too heavily here. I do believe they have a Bulldog and an Ares and possibly, I believe, 3 Ghosts. So they actually buy pretty light. They were hoping that Dignitas weren't going to force into it. Indeed, they don't. It's going to be 5 Classics. They are, however, stacking very heavily over towards C, and Sentinels now, sensing there will be immediate danger, do back out of that situation. A's free for now, and the spike is hitting at least over towards B.
Sinatra's going to bait, though. The Aldrone bait going to come through, and Shazam on the long flank. No one is looking at this. How about number 1? Oh, he misses the shot. Okay, Shazam is able to retrade it. There you go. A little bit more calm on the way through. And as the pinch comes out, Dapper will find a double in the backside. And Sentinels, will they get the spike point? No, they will not. But at least they take the pistol in the follow-up to tie things up 7 apiece.
And there you go. All 3 pistol players that bought into the second round, didn't buy into the second round, can now buy into this third round. 3 Ghosts. 1 Bulldog, 1 Ares. All things considered, that's actually a really decent buy walking into what will basically be a gun round. It's not going to be much of a bonus here, consider that Sec is down to 300, so he won't be able to comfortably rebuy if they do lose. But at the same time, Sentinels, very comfortable buy, I think. Most teams won't have this many rifles walking into number 3 after winning the first 2.
Yeah. This will make it competitive, to be sure. Sentinel's getting aggressive. Odorous is going to get so much information. The wide peak is there, and he immediately tailwinds away. Beautiful first pick. And of course, to stay alive, even better for Dig. Knows that the threat of Shazam is nearby, and this might just be a little bit of jet-on-jet violence coming through. Try to use the turret as a way to bait, but Shazam will just deal with the utility and then back away. So we'll go 4v5 for the rest of the round for Sentinels.
Still a rifle to be retrieved, as Sinatra maybe wants to go for that one, just on the floor ahead of themselves. Ares still in hand for now. Got about a minute left to play with, and Sentinels are still leaning over towards A, so maybe trying to fake things out for Dignitas, where, sure, they got 1 kill towards A, and then Dignitas will be thinking, surely Sentinels won't be back towards A. At least that's what Odorous is contemplating as he shifts off, now moving towards C, and this is when Sentinels will take their chance.
And there's not a lot of Killjoy utility here. That's the important thing to note as this attack comes through. It'll be relatively unscouted. You do have the Sova nearby, but Sinatra's going to find the first. Backloff, how many can you be good for? He's going to take 1 down and a second. That's actually good enough. 3v2 now for the retake for Dignitas. But I say retake, and it's really not, because the spike hasn't come down. Dapper's not in a great position. He'll throw down a Cyber Cage just to grab the spike. There's 23 seconds for him to play with, but this is a very dense 1v3 for him to try to work through. He's got 2 players up top, 1 more through the link, and Dapper's not committing for the plant yet. He's going to try for it, but there's the double peek. Brilliant play for Dig, and you got to give credit for Makaloff. He needed to be good for at least 1. He ones up it by going for 2, and that allows Dignitas an easy way to keep contested the A site throughout the hit.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Sentinels can't actually plant there, the last player alive, Dapper's not going to be able to get it done 1v3. Dignitas won't rush him down. I mean, even that situation, Dignitas can wait out the timer. They know Sentinels eventually will have to go for the stick there, and a 1v3 with Dapper really won't be able to win. And fortunately for Sentinels walking over towards A, they couldn't quite get enough opening picks. Like you said, Makaloff getting the praise necessary, getting Sinatra down, who isn't able to upgrade from his Ares over towards the Phantom. Sentinels are still going to be able to buy up 4, and they will be able to use the Blake Summers lock. It's an early nice one-shot there, but Makaloff does pull it back.
Yeah, the 4v4 I think is still okay, though, for both sides. You're happy with the opening pick, but I think you're also happy with the trade, so we'll see how things unfold here. Aggressive play for Sick as he looks to go over towards B. This is where all the Killjoy utility is, though, and he's already taken a pretty significant amount of damage. It's going to stick for the early plant, but look at the flank. You've got Odorous who's already trying to play around the backside of B window, and Dapper's actually able to save a life right there. That was going to be a free kill off screen into Sinatra, but Dapper's able to hold the angle, and now we go 3v3. But the good news for Dig this time in the retake is you do have the Hunter's Fury to potentially use, and as Makaloff finds 1 kill to clear the middle of the map, you might not even need it. Superman's that's on top is looking to bait out to see if Sinatra's going to toss the shock dart. He will. A couple of spam shots will come through, and now you just stick this, I think, at this point in time.
1 enemy remaining.
Just about. Dapper coming through from the back, though. Has a chance. We'll be able to stop the defuse. Just. We'll still have enough time here, though. Dignitas, Super is going to be able to confirm the defuse. And unfortunately, their Zoms goes down quite early. I think if Zoms played that one a little bit more defensively with Sinatra, it's really important for Zoms to stay alive because he's got one of the few smokes alive He pops the smoke down over towards B main. That will make things slightly easier. Counter smoke does come and block out Sinatra's view. Dapper, if he gets the kill into Super, might be able to extend the round a little bit further, and the last 1v1 might be winnable, but needs to get that kill into Super, unfortunately can't do so. So Dignitas now in the second half here will keep things even 2-2, and 2 ahead of Sentinels as well, 9-7.
Yeah, and Odorous now going into an operator and where he's going to be forcing, or not forcing up, but he's going to be finding a lot of favor versus the light buy situation of Sentinels. Let's just see if he can get a tune out of this trombone. Hunter's Fury for Sinatraa actually grabs a tag. If he can find a kill, that would be incredible, but the shots won't connect. Though, meanwhile, Thirsty Garage, Sick is able to find a kill. He's immediately earned himself to run it back, and Shazam's able to find another pick. So all of a sudden, Sentinels on a light buy are looking primed to take the C site.
And they've just gone really quickly here. They sped up completely over towards Garage. Sam down early. Super as well to follow, just overwhelmed by this light buy from Sentinels, now into a 5-man post plant. Ultimates are being committed as well. There should be 2 gun upgrades in hand for Sentinels, and this is looking fairly winnable for them.
And Dignitas were hoping for the ability to go into an Owl Drone immediately to a Hunter's Fury to potentially retake, but now that the Owl Drone's been dealt with, this is going to be a save. And what an incredible round for Sentinels. The fact that Sick just goes crazy mode mid-map to find 1 kill for free.
He goes sicko mode.
He goes sicko mode. I wasn't going to take the low-hanging fruit there, but I'm kind of glad that you did, Averil. But the fact that he gets that run it back completely opens up the C site, and from there was never a chance for Dignitas to recontest.
And Sentinels are still going for this, by the way, because the players that don't pick up rifles here feel a great need to save what they've got, so potential for a couple more picks. I mean, Odorous will get one as well. Sick will just play 1v1 versus the turret, won't find anything. But for Sentinels, a thrifty win. Nicely found that. Couple of free rifles in hand. We'll take those for sure. And now that we move into a little bit deeper of the rounds, 8 and 9, and Sentinels picking up a much needed, in some cases, thrifty. That's how you really start to bounce back quite nicely, at least in terms of economy. Odorous still has the operator alive. Again, Dignitas saved quite a few weapons there, so the opportunity for Dignitas to get some early action still on the board.
Yeah, this is just looking great now all of a sudden for Sentinels. You're only down 1. You're coming in with even economy. So this is a round that you would love to take advantage of and tie things up 9-9. On the opposite side for Dignitas, they do have ultimates to play with. And as Solomon is able to find 1 kill, he'll earn the Empress. But only down to 49 HP. Is likely not going to find enough health to favor the call to hit this yet. Unless he can maybe get an overkill or an overheal somewhere on this potential engagement for Sentinels up the middle. They're going to still just go right on in. Not a lot of respect shown to this setup, and the spike will come down successfully. Keep your eye on the Omen, bottom left of your mini-map. That's Superman on the long flank. Looks like he's gotten past the trap wire, and he very well could open up the potential for this retake by hitting the flank.
The important members did get alive there. Sick died the last time they tried to rush B. Now the hot hands are still available. Sam, though, did pop the Empress, needs to find a kill to heal back up. We've seen Dignitas in this situation to get Sick down nice and early. It's going to be a trade back. Sam staying alive is important, and Sentinels, it's just Sinatraa, and he needs to do so much.
Tough call for Sinatraa here. He's going to try to spam and give it a go, but the spike will be diffused, and Odorous will clean up the kill. So all of the ultimates were used that were available there for Dig, but it gets him, again, a crucial round, so you've got to respect the energy and the call to go for it. At the same front, though, I mean, we've seen a couple of rounds now where Sentinels, you look at their approach towards B, and it's been, I don't know if you're really going to feel as favorable to getting a free plant and post-plant setup off of it. I mean, the first round that they did it, yeah, it was great, but the following 2 that we've seen towards B have been a little bit more questionable, and this time they just can't quite hold.
And the problem there for the last 2 B rushes is that they lose somebody early. I mean, that second time as well, Sick doesn't even get off site. He dies on B. The time he does get off site, he dies fairly quickly after that anyway. Starting 4v5, never great. Dignitas are much better prepared for potential B rushes. They scout out C long, they start swarming around B. Sam pops the Empress as well. They're just able to take B control fairly comfortably for the Dignitas side of things to keep themselves still 2 ahead. So every time Sentinels do get one, Dignitas extend the lead back to where it should be, which is 2 up. And for Dig as well, lockdown available for this particular defense too. So once the push does come through from Sentinels, Def won't commit to this one. He'll wait for backup, and then they'll use the lockdown to retake.
We'll see how the execute comes through for Sentinels, again, with Dapper already down to a single bullet of health left. He's also carrying the spike. That could provide tragedy towards towards this execute, but once again, Dig is going to allow them to come through freely. Saul able to find one. This misses away. Sees the second. Almost gets an opportunity, but it's going to be a shock dart in return. Tags up heavily. No Hunter's Fury to counter this, but the spam shots through the wall are good. No lockdown success there whatsoever for Def, and he will catch a better part of a shock dart. Makalov able to find another kill that leads it to a 5v3. The flank, potentially, in here is going to have to be zombie way in. Not just one and a second, are you kidding me? Now all of a sudden you've got to try to work your way out of sight if you're going to commit still, if you're Dig. And the recon bolt that comes through will give a little bit of information off of one pinged up, but this is still a commit for Dig, and time is becoming an issue. You've got to go, you've got to go right now. Superman able to get a second. It's just down to one. Trying to hold for the spike, and Zoms is not able to take down the 1v1. A last-second retake for Dig comes through successful, and they go up 11-8.
And the problem there is, Sinatra tries to challenge there, goes down, doesn't quite find the kill as Recon got destroyed almost instantaneously as well. They need to keep two alive, their minimum. Dapper, like you mentioned, was on such minimal HP, he can't really contest properly. Zoms tries to get offside over towards Sewers, but ends up re-challenging anyway, and a last 1v2 ends up being a little bit too difficult. So for Sentinels, they do get the lockdown destroyed, but after that, their post-plant ends up going the way of Dignitas on their retake.
Oh, man.
And 3 ahead now, Operator still into play. Sentinels buying heavily into this one. Every player except for Dapper down to 0. 2 SMGs walking on through. And Sentinels don't quite have a lot of ults either. Sick will try and get a lot of early control over towards Long A. Will do so. And Dignitas might now start shifting over towards A as well.
I mean, this round is the game. You feel like for Sentinels, you force buy in. You lose this, you're on an eco trying to hold off the win for Dignitas. So this is a must-win round for Sentinels. And they're going to, again, posture over towards A. Zoms will lurk behind the play. Aldrone defensively through the middle of the map will not see anything. And there is potential to overwhelm here, especially if Superman does not find a kill. Lear will come out just to make sure, and that's good information from Supa. Does he rechal this? He sure seems to want to. Here comes the peek through, but Superman's able to find the first kill. This is not great news for Sentinels. They're still committing. And as Makalov finds the second, now it's a 3v5, and Sentinels, I don't even know if they have the tools to get through. They will find at least one trade. It'll open things up, but the defense for Dignitas still have 2 members on the site. Neural Theft will come through. Sinatra is able to find a second kill. Incredible for him. And with that, Shazam will upgrade his weapon as the spike is planted.
And they might be able to get offside here as well. I can see the Dapper and Shazam starting to walk away now. Sinatra holding nice and tight over aggressively. Will get pushed up in very quickly as well. So no real backup, sadly, for him. 11 HP probably will end up going down regardless. Sentinels have to play for a little bit of time here. We'll have to wait for the tap, see if Dignitas can manage the situation.
Shazam needed that kill. There's no way that you peek from long here because Odorous is holding out to an operator. Now he's got to come down and go into the Vandal. He's found one. Cloudbursts are going to come through the tailwind one. He's got an angle, but he can't win it. Sentinel still alive off the force by Dapper for 3. But you got to give credit again to the play in the corner from Shazam. If he loses that 1v1, there is no chance Dapper's able to hold off a 1v3 with an operator watching long. Beautiful play for Sentinels, and they're dancing, keeping this map alive.
I mean, you can even rewind a little bit earlier over towards the sewer play as well. They lose one quite early over to Super, and they still decide to push on through. They still get a couple of kills. It ends up being a 3v3 as a plant comes in. Pick up a couple of guns off the floor, much needed, because, I mean, Sentinels, they, again, walked in with what was 2 SMGs there, so keeping the 3 rifles alive, super important. And like I said, it feels like a must-win round. They keep Dignitas away from the 12. Odorous is pushing up very aggressively this time, though. Might have an opportunity for a nice sneaky pick.
Oh, and Odorous will be caught. Big isolated pick. You still have Sinatra with the Hunter's Fury. You could use this to maybe go for a flawless round and open up a site much easier. He is usually one of those guys that he'll use an Aldrone, a recon bolt, and then immediately go into the Hunter's Fury. He wants to try to find those opening picks. That will not be required this time. Saul, mid-map, he's good for 1, dismisses the way. Tries to take the second challenge, but Sick will be there. Meanwhile, off-screen, Superman is able to take down Sinatra, so we'll go 3v3.
Def is flanking as well, so he has a lot of control over towards A. He'll know if there's any rotations, probably hearing the footsteps over onto B as well. This will give information for Dignitas, who at this point in time, the Aldrone just checking over towards Garrett, checking C long as well, just to see if there's anyone home. And it is going to come down to the B play. This is going to be an important 1v1. Sick is posted up over into Alley, into the BA link, and this is where Def is going to walk into.
This is everything. Sick needs to find this pick, and he will. 3rd kill for him. Has the run it back if he feels like he'll need it. Makalov will likely give away his position by sending this recon bolt through. He will find information just on the Dapper. Sitting backside Gong will be Zom. Superman is looking for the post-plant setup at B window, but it's not there. Different look for Sentinels as they've completely surrounded the B site, and Supa's got no choice but to save here.
He's got no money either. You look towards his team. 2 players walked in with SMGs here. Most of his teammates are below 1,000 credits, so can't really afford to be dropping too many rifles. And Sentinels, they don't hold off-site here. That's what Superman was hoping for. He was hoping to get a sneaky kill over towards someone watching from window over to B. That's normally what Sentinels would do, but Sinatra's kind of dead. That's would have been Sinatra's post-plant position. So for Dignitas, can't quite hold on. Sam does a nice job of slowing things down over towards Garage, but they end up not being able to retake to B, and that 1v1, I think, over from B-Link to A, where Sig does get the kill to death, ends up being quite important.
Shazam still can't purchase here into a full AR. Just over
He's got
2K for most, and he's going to have the Bladestorm to play with, but just to kind of give you a spectrum of how the economy is matching up, as Dignitas are going to go to a Hero Phantom onto Supa. And Sentinels look to get aggressive over towards A-Long, see if they can find someone lurking, but they're not going to get the opportunity here. They're going to keep the spike mid-maps. This is all about trying to find picks here early for Sentinels.
All about getting early control there as well. Just to keep Dignitas guessing, who at this stage are kind of stacking over towards Sue. Sinatra hasn't quite scouted anything out. All 3 Hunter's Fury shots are not going to connect this time. This sewer play is going to be everything. I mean, if Dignitas find a kill here, that would be massive, and they do. Sek actually turns around, and that golf will be awarded a freebie.
That should be a free weapon as well. They're going to give that over to Odorous. Hit towards A-Long, will back away. Sentinels in another 4v5 situation, but with that pick from Makalov, he's actually earned a Hunter's Fury. It's going to be another commitment over to B. There's been a lot of that so far. Hunter's Fury going to come out. Shazam is going to get the beat on one, but Salma is able to at least find one kill. That's worthwhile for him. And this B site will look to be stuck for a plant, pushing to the dark cover, but Def with the one tap. The trade will be there, but still numbers for Dig in a 3v2. And with this rotation trying to stretch over to
30
C,
seconds left.
Sinatra will be the last one left alive. His spike carrier of Zombs has fallen. He's gonna have to take a 1v2 situation, and it's not gonna come out. Dig with a huge eco round. They're on map point.
Match point.
And Dignitas only walked into that round with a hero rifle into Super, and I don't even believe the hero rifle did really anything. It was all the sheriffs coming on in. You saw Makalov get the early kill, Odorous as well, Sam getting the kills. Def got that one kill as well over into the BC link, and for Dignitas, look, if they win this map, that's one of the important rounds there. Dignitas won a very critical eco, very critical thrifty buy. And now securing 12, operator back in the hands. Odorous one away from the Bladestorm. If things get a little bit hairy here, and for Sentinels, they're going to force up as best they can. 2 players will not have full armor, but they still have 2 ultimates and second arms.
Sick is going to have to find something big here with the run it back. Kills would be fine, information would be fine, doesn't make a difference. And here it is. He's going to go right through C garage. Immediately comes out, but doesn't check his left. The rest of the hit that came from C-Long, though, is successful, so the pinch play is pretty well found. Saul was only able to take down 1, so Sentinels, they've got themselves a 4v2 and the opportunity to play at C.
How did Dignitas want to handle this? 2 alive, one of them does have the operator. And you look at the situation where Odorous is already thinking about backing away. Makalov is dead, so 1 versus 4. Odorous probably just wants to keep this operator alive. I mean, you could actually do damage here. I would maybe even make the argument that picking up a rifle off a dead teammate somewhere, I mean, he'd have to go around the back of C and defend a spawn for that, but making a play here, look at the money for Sentinels. If Sentinels lose members here, even though they win this round, they're not going to have great buys. So on one hand, for Dignitas, you have to start considering, do you drop the operator, drop in terms of Odorous is probably going to die drop, but go for the kills, just to keep the Sentinels' money low.
Looks like both teams will be happy just sitting in their corners here as this round comes to a close. Sentinels need to win this next round to send things to overtime. Dignitas will have the ability to at least mostly purchase. There will be maybe 1 player that will be weakened up here as far as the overall buy, as Odorous will be forced to buy up for Def. It's going to be down to what does Superman want to purchase into. He's already bought into the full armor, and now he's reconsidering. Can he find a way to maybe get an AR? He's sold some of his utility, but is thinking the utility is better, so he'll just go to a Bulldog.
Really tricky situation. And for Sentinels as well, opportunity to bring this one to an overtime. Back over towards A, and they're just changing things up constantly. I mean, so far their A plays have mostly been centered around getting early control, flashing directly into A long. This time it's just going to be cage a few players in towards sewers. No sewers resistance. Typically, there has been somebody playing up on the box, so maybe Sentinel's getting lucky here. Dignitas pushed up very hard on C long, and now Sentinels get A for free.
And Dignitas has to have a better lockdown this time around. You cannot have it be instantly deleted. So will they use that for the potential retake? Sick is going to go for the spike, not your traditional default spot. He's putting it in the corner. This will allow for maybe an opportunity to watch crosses from A long, and that seems to be the effort. There is the lockdown, placed over towards the B link. It's going to take away a lot of the actual spike site itself, but there's nobody working on any sort of a pinch. This is all Dignitas trying to hit right back in from the front.
There's no lineup for Sinatra either. There is actually one player detained there. I don't believe it was Sinatra. In either case, Dignitas are going to be able to walk up fairly comfortably. They have to secure the site location. Def is going to lose the 1v1.
Bull, but now you have the neural threat to come through. Everyone's just spamming at the spike. That's why you plant it there. So the hot hands and the shock dart can come through. Sinatra finds 3, and we're going to overtime.
Switching sides.
Sentinels with the must-win round. Back in round 20, they make it come through. They extend it to 12-12, and now everything goes back to 0 as we get into our first overtime.
And I gotta repeat that situation. He puts down the lockdown in what is a very typical spot. A lot of Killjoy players will be aware of that position, but doesn't have the lineup for the Nanoswarm into the corner of A long there, where Sinatra is holding. I mean, a lot of Killjoy players, if they put the lockdown there, they will also have the lineup to make sure Sinatra can't just sit in that last corner. And so for Dignitas, unfortunately, they gamble heavily towards C. They only have the one anchor over towards A. Can't quite hold on to A. They give it away for free. Allow Sentinels to have 5 alive in the post part. We know how dangerous it's been when Sentinels have 5 alive. Everybody up there, all the util being played in, a lot of spam. But now that we move into OT, Sentinels on the defense early. Shazam buying into the operator is not going to have any armor or util.
Dignitas are not even throwing any utility numbers consideration even towards A. Everything is coming towards C long. Sick is here. A lot of flashes are available. Hot hands comes through first, dark cover second, and then a couple of spam shots. There's a little bit of damage confirmed, and Dignitas are trying to back up, but on the rotation, Sinatra is holding things down towards C garage doors, and he will find first blood.
Forever annoying to play against him every single time. Sinatra gets a second as well. Dapper's done damage here. Sentinels fought it too. And their numbers are looking so good. Dignitas have to really try and make something happen with their last 2 alive. Super's been responsible for a couple of 4Ks in earlier rounds. Sam has gotten his own 4K. But this might be a little bit too difficult now, as Sentinels look comfortably towards 13, or at least the opportunity for 13.
Oh, and Sinatra's going to get tagged up, holding onto a shock dart. He'll throw it out.
30 seconds
and
left.
At least shrug some players back. 30 seconds, and I just don't know what you do here if you're Dig. Hopefully you can find this pick out of Sinatra. The paranoia is not going to connect. Spam shots once again coming through. Bounce pass on the shock dart. Also not going to find kills, but Sick able to lock things down from the back. Now it's just down to 1, and the overheal really won't even be there. Sinatra for another triple, and Sentinels will take the edge here early in the overtime.
Switching sides.
2 players picked up by Sinatra
Match
over towards
point.
Garage. You have Dapper moving up quite aggressively over towards B window as well. And Sentinels caught pants down in that situation. And that's the map point finally being found for Sentinel's side of things. They've been trailing for most of this map. They had to really pull through, even get to this overtime. Odorous is going to do the same thing as Shazam, come through on the operator defensively. And it's going to be A. A lot of how this round is going to be dictated is where Dignitas put their members early, because as a reminder for that round 24, solo defense on towards A is what gave away that site. And now Odorous needs to get an opening pick. He's got 4 players in front of him.
Shazam for first blood. That's over towards the sewers. Sick is going to toss out a curveball, but they're not even going to bother peeking this. So an opportunity here to potentially use these numbers to put things away, but the problem is you've got Shazam on 1 HP essentially.
Yeah, he got legged.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, because otherwise it would have been Odorous getting away, would have connected the shot, tried to dash, but talked about how important it was for Odorous to get an opening pick on the operator. It doesn't happen. information being revealed now towards the C side of things, and once again it's going to come down to Diff. No lockdown this time available.
No.
As Dapper gets another, and this is Sentinels now 5 versus 3, looking for map 1.
How do you lose that gunfight, Superman? You've had so many incredible moments. That one was probably the freest kill he's seen all game. And still doesn't grab the kill. Dapper gets out of the spy cam just quick enough, and the retake for Dig is all going to come through C Garage. Not a lot of utility to play with for Def. You're hoping you've got Mekalov with something. Maybe a Lear or two for Psalm, but he's gonna have to pop. He sees the weapon, spam shots are good. Do you expect the second one to be there? The dismiss comes out, and Mac is able to find the trade plus one more. Hold on a second. 2v2 we go. Zombs is the last player that's full HP. Gonna see the rifle and find one, but Mekalov finds the kill. Shazam with 3 HP. Just trying to play the time. Sees his shoulder. Is this stuck to halfway? You have to hold it, and he's not gonna hold it. And that's going to be the game. Sentinels in overtime in comeback fashion take map 1, 14-12.
3 HP, it's all Shazam needs, just play for the time of it, and he's got it, but that was a tough map. Again, we go back to the early rounds, and we go back to the first half. We had a very difficult situation for Sentinels to navigate there. It was a 4-1 in the first 5 rounds. You start going through those rounds. Eventually, Sentinels do bring it back 5 and 7. And now I look back towards that first half, and I think, look, if that 5 and 7 doesn't come through, if it's a 4 and 8 instead, we don't go to overtime. We don't have a situation where Sentinels can actually win, and there were very clutch situations in there. You look towards some of the very early B plays, the pistol that ended up working quite well, some of the failed B plays as well. Definitely quite back and forth there. 4Ks being revealed for Super, 4Ks coming in for Sam as well. But when it really comes to the clutch moments, when it really comes to the important moments, that round 24 again really sticks out to me, and obviously the 2 overtime rounds where Sinatra and the rest of Sentinels get much needed early value, and that gives them the map win.
A lot of resiliency shown for both of our teams, but a little bit more into consideration towards Sentinels. So that'll be map number 1. Coming up next, we're going to have Split. And this is where things get a little bit dicier here for Dig because, let's be honest, we just have not seen them play this map hardly at all. 3 total times at major tournaments have they played this. None of that has been done since the Ignition series came to a close. On the opposite side, Sentinels, obviously, much more strong when it comes to Split. We're going to throw things to a break, get everything set up. Yinsu's going to come back and direct us through as we get ready to go for map number 2 right after this.